heard that yes, AI technologies they can increase in short time productivity, but can decrease engagement in the long run. So, what do you think about this statement?
I think it comes down to increased productivity but decreased long-term engagement. I think that's almost the exact opposite of what the marketeers would actually have us believe. Now, funnily enough, I was out running yesterday and I was thinking of this exact same question. And I was thinking, we keep, and this is me included, keep saying we're removing the mundane work and we're leaving all the interesting stuff. We're making people's jobs better. And actually, I don't know. I've never asked somebody whether they think that we are. So I think it's an interesting question. If I believe the hype, then I would say that yes, we are creating more interesting work and therefore we are not disengaging people. Now, that's if I believe the hype. The reality is, I think we all like variation, and everyone's different, right? I'm a problem solver by nature. So if all I had to do was investigate problems and I had information I could do, I knew where to go to get particular answers, and I could help somebody, I would get a lot of value out of that role. Now, that's fine. However, the flip side of that is, if I want to really help somebody, my role is now complex because all the simple stuff's been removed, but I can't find people to help me help the customer. I am going to be more disengaged. So I think what we really need to be mindful of, and I think this whole work from home thing has brought this to light a little bit as well, is, there's always a consequence to change. Now, ordinarily we'd like to think it's positive, but there's always a knock-on effect somewhere. So, I heard this on a podcast the other day that, change is a bit like a pendulum. Like we swing it one way and then something reverberates, it swings back, and change is a pendulum, right? Change is very rarely one way without some kind of reverberation. And so I think it's a really interesting point that I think over the next kind of 18, 24 months, we're going to talk about a lot more. Because we can't just change the way people work without thinking about the consequences. So removing the mundane, great. Everything's more complex, okay. Do you have the knowledge to be able to answer those complex things? No, maybe we don't. Do you have the knowledge to be able to find the answers to those things? Maybe not. How have you done it in the past? Raise my hand, ask my supervisor, can you help me with this? Are you working from home now? Okay, what do I do now? Okay, we'll go on Teams. I've got a customer on the phone. Okay, so you can see that the idea of removing the complex and removing the simple and leaving the complex, on the face of it sounds like, well, we're going to make everyone's jobs really interesting. You're probably going to make everyone's jobs really, really hard. And unless you're truly supporting them, and that's why things like cobots, IEP, and other things where the information is given, unless we do that, unless we truly change the way that we work holistically, by ensuring that answers can be given real time, that we've got people listening to the contacts, that support is there. Unless we are able to also provide all of that, I think the point could well be right, that you could become disengaged because we're not helping you deal with your more complex job. So I think it's a really interesting point. It's something I've been pondering now for a little while. I don't know whether we will see the data around this, but I know that there's a number of studies ongoing at the moment around work from home and what's changed, what stayed, and what do we need to do differently if this is going to be a thing moving forward for everyone. So I think we're going to see over the next couple of years some really interesting data around this, and maybe we should revisit this question in a couple of years and see what actually happened and whether or not people did become incredibly disengaged or whether they embraced technology, because we'd we'd figured out how to balance the pendulum with additional support.
Right. It's nice that you mentioned here these pedals, and it's also bring to my mind our experience with switch to remote work. At the start, it was for consultants especially felt like disengagement from the customer side, because now we are remote, we can turn off our camera and do other stuff like multitasking at the same time, and be not engaged in the decision making about the conversation about the future solution and so on. But then we started to bring into these workshops and conversation new tools such as Mira, Mural, and so on. And by this, we increased this engagement, and new reality started for us as a normal. And by this, every changes should bring sequence of changes just to adapt to the new situation. But it doesn't mean the situation is wrong or getting worse. It just we should change at the same time with the situation. I agree.